Blessings crew, welcome to this week's offering. You can probably tell it's a little chillier here today, but the sun is shining. And that kind of brings us to that grounding of energy. So whatever's going on around you, of course, impacts your practice. So think about the weather, think about how you're feeling, what you've kind of eaten or consumed today. That can be what we've consumed with our mind too. And just kind of bring yourself onto your yoga mat and let yourself sink into the breath, the being of being on your yoga mat. Maybe move your awareness down to your feet, give them a little bit of movement, and think about the land underneath where you are, where your practice is centered, and your connection into that land, so that as we start to ground, we're able to bring our roots down into the roots underneath us. Maybe soften your gaze, maybe close your eyes, just come into the breath. We talk a little bit in these classes about gathering our energy in if we've kind of been scattered. So if you feel a bit scattered, imagine just kind of drawing all those threads back in. It's like we're winding in balls of thread and bring them back into ourselves. Think about the practice of yoga. One of the many interpretations of the word yoga is to yoke, to bring ourselves together, to yoke ourselves together, with that purpose of connecting higher. Sometimes how people describe it, sometimes in the West it's just to connect because we aren't very connected up. So bring kind of your awareness just into toes. We're going to anchor through our feet. I'm going to open our eyes, going to inhale, take the arms up. And we're going to exhale, bend into those knees, the start of a chair pose. So we're not trying for the floor yet. Inhale, come up. So when we exhale, our tailbone's going backwards. So we come down. Hands sweeping just below the knees, inhale, come up. Let's keep that movement going. And bring your presence to that movement. Let's start touching our fingertips together at the top. Feeling that touch, coming back down. And up. One more like that. Touch the fingertips. Come down. And come into chair pose from there. So let's take the arms up. Tailbone back. Find your breath. Find that enough in terms of energy and movement. Coming up slow. Reach your arms down and around behind you. Link your fingers. Roll the shoulder blades down the spine, tuck the chin in towards the base of the throat. Breathe right up under the collarbones so we get that stretch. Down the sides of the neck. We've got our shoulder blades squeezed together, so you might feel that bit of tension that can sit in that whole area. Release the arms, inhale, bring them up. We're going to link our fingers at the top. We're going to reach it over towards the right. Just slowly lifting up through that left side. Inhale, bring that up, exhale, lift it up, over to the other side, reaching into that space. Bring it back up. And bring these arms down. And let's take our feet out wider, so edge of the mat. Toes turned out a little bit, so we've got a bit more comfort. A little bit of movement into the hips, especially if it is a bit colder where you are. Just kind of bringing our awareness into the hips. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up. And we're going to exhale this time, bending into the knees, tailbone going back, fingers sweeping the floor if we can, and then inhaling up. Touching those fingertips, feeling that sensation. Exhaling back down. Rhythm of your breath. One more, lifting it up, sweeping it down, and then just straightening up the feet, letting yourself move first to the spine being quite parallel with the floor. So we might be up on fingertips or even up with our hands just under our knees. Move the knees a little bit, make sure that we're not locking, move the weight slightly forward. If you can, come down, otherwise stay where you were, let the head drop, let the face relax. Now turn our toes outwards. Come down either into a half or a full squat if you've got that full squat capacity. Again, it's one of those things that can be a yay or a nay in our body, or a work in progress. So lots of breathing, team, lots of kind of coming into that space. Then our hands are going to come down. Our feet are going to come out slightly. Hands come out back through the forward fold. And depending on your shoulders, if you're super cold, don't. But if you're feeling alright, reach the arms around, link the fingers, lift them up towards the roof. Arms come down, hands come down. Heels come slightly in, walk the hands up to just below your knees, straighten out your spine, bring your head just higher than your heart. And then all the way up. Woo. Bring these feet back in and under us. Almost need to discard my socks. Do need to discard my socks. So if you've had your socks on, unless you've got those grippy socks. I'm working in a studio now where there's Pilates and a lot of the crew wear grippy socks. So there's lots of socks on the mat. I still can't, the grippy and my feet go in two different directions, so I'm a barefoot. So spread the toes out, team. Come up onto the ball of the foot, give everything a little movement around. Might get some clicky clunkies in our feet. And then just coming down, we're going to inhale, we're going to bring our arms up. And we're going to come down through that centre line, make sure there's enough room for our boobs, our bellies. Bring the hands down. Come up to that halfway mark, just slide the hands up, stretch out the spine. And then as we fold down, we're going to take our right foot, step up that, bring that right knee down, Low lunge, flatten that back foot and bring the upper body up. So hips to the front. We can be straight over that back knee or forward, just check your back. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up and just kind of sink into that pose. Feel the stretch. Where's it happening for you? Is it in the front of that right thigh? Is it in that left hip? Is it all the way through? How's your back feeling? Kind of bring your awareness to all the bits, even the lifting of the arms, the lifting of the chest. And come down slow, bring the hands down, half split, foot flat for this first one. So pull back, breathe into that stretch. Come forward. Come up slow, check that lower back, especially as the arms come up. Right arm keeps going. Back to that right leg. Left arm reaches, slightly shifting things. So opening the front of the chest on that right side. Lifting into that left side. Long, deep breath. And then forward we go. Diving it down. Half split this time. Ball of the foot and toes lift as we sink into the breath. Coming forward. Let's come up into a high lunge. So close back toes under. Step, wriggle that left foot back into plank. Up into down dog. If it's not a down dog day, continuing. Pose the child, frog pose. If you're in down dog, that lifting the hips, feel the difference left to right. Meeting on all fours. Just one little cat-cow pose along the way. So inhale, bring the chest forward. Exhale, bring that mid-spine up. Check that lower back while we're there. Then right foot steps forward into that low lunge. Bring the upper body up. Figure out kind of how far forward you want to come. And then up with the arms. Checking in on that back the whole time, making sure we feel alright. And then just centering your awareness of where you're feeling it. What's the breath doing? Coming down slow, that first half split on this side with the foot flat. Easing back, ease into the breath. coming forward, lifting up slow, again checking in as we take that left hand back, right arm lifts, long deep breath. Coming slowly forward and down, pulling back, ball of the foot, toes lift, into the breath we go. Coming forward, tucking those back toes under into that high lunge. This time turning our feet so we're nice and wide on the mat. Again, starting at that halfway mark too, so straighten out the spine, adjust the feet, get that kind of sense of where we're at. Hamstring crew, this can be plenty, right? So we don't have to come around the hips. If you can roll around the hips, down we go. Letting the head drop, letting the shoulders get nice and heavy. Lengthening into the breath. You're going to walk around to the back foot, just slow. Let yourself stretch into it. That first bit of twist for the class team, so sometimes it can feel like, woo, that's interesting. Just think we haven't twisted the body yet. And then wander around, front foot, other way, whichever makes sense to you. And sink it down. Come back around into that front foot, so into the high lunge. Back knee comes down. Wriggle it out. We're going to do a frog. So knees go out to the edge of the mat, big toes together. Pulling back, we can use it as a rest pose, or we can create quite a bit of traction in it by walking those arms forward at the same time as we draw our hips back. Let's take our right arm, thread it underneath the left, and really get some movement into that twist, looking along that right hand, walking that left arm forward. Changing sides, just slow. wandering back in, back up, all fours. Cat-cow again team, but a few more this time, just checking in on that back. Inhale, bring it forward. We can be gentle, we can be quite strong, depends on how you're feeling. Exhaling, lifting that mid-spine up, tuck that chin in. Now open up again on that inhale. One more like that. We're going to sit ourselves around crew for a moment. Bring the soles of the feet in. Let those knees drop out to the side. We're going to bring them in quite close. Start by lifting up along the spine, so we don't want to be kind of slumped. We want to have that long spine. For some people this is plenty, right? This is where we start to feel that tension, either in the hips or the inner thighs, maybe along the spine. For those of you that can, I'm going to start to come forward. Keep that spine long, try not to hunch. So we're going to keep the diaphragm really open. As soon as we curl over, we cut that breath off. We want that long spine, that long breath. Then we're going to lift ourselves up, and we're going to take our feet out that little bit wider, so into our diamond. Come forward again if we can, so long spine. We've really got to kind of concentrate on lifting 14. It's so kind of easy just to drop into it, and so coming forward, we never feel like we're getting as far, but we're actually getting further in terms of what we're aiming for, in terms of movement in the body. And so another way that we can describe that is we kind of come forward and then we bring our chest forward, so we can feel that lengthening out. Especially those of you that get tight, quadratus lumborum, so between the pelvis and your ribs, big group of muscles there. So we're going to slowly drop our head over to the left, and our body follows. Let the head come towards that knee or that shoulder, wherever we've got to with it. Drop that right shoulder down towards the hip. Inhale up slow, lifting that head up nice and slow as we take it to the other side. Lift it up slowly. We're going back over to that left side. This time we're going to turn, we're going to look up, we're going to take our right arm up towards the roof. We're following our thumb with our eyes, so we're reaching up. We're going to lift up slow and change sides equally as slowly, so just taking it over once we're there, turning our head, looking up to that thumb. Bring it up slow. Let's take these legs out in front, give them a little shake, especially if you're one of the people that struggles with hips in these ones, so give them a little shake. Got one more left in that sequence, so we're just going to come back into that wider diamond. And it's similar to that last one, except once we've reached our arm up, we're going to bring it around behind us, and the back of your hand is going to be on your lower back or down towards your hip. Okay, so it's kind of the idea of a bind where we get that rotation in the shoulder. So you might want to kind of go around like that and then around like that, just to kind of get any clicks out of that shoulder that might need to happen before we do it. If it feels too intense, come forward, take rest, do what feels good for your body. So always kind of coming into what's going to feel good for me in my practice. So we're going left. If we're doing this one, up comes that right arm, we follow it, and we turn that hand, and we bring it down and around behind us. We're just opening that shoulder. We might end up a little bit more of a twist going on, looking out, nice deep breath. Coming up slow, changing sides. So set it up slowly, head goes over, arm comes up, and then we just turn into that shoulder, turn into that side of the body. Have a stretch if you're Monty and a scratch under the table. Yeah, shake even. Hey baby. Bring it slowly up and out and back to center, and we're coming forward. And again, we're just lengthening along that spine. We might find we can get deeper this time. Depends on how we're feeling. Breathe into there. Lifting it up. We're going to take our legs up nice and wide. We're going to just notice. So again, if you find that you're kind of leaning back in this one, prop cushion under your bum, fold up blanket, whatever feels good. And we're going to circle just slowly into that pelvis. Start quite small, build it up to where it feels good for your body. Really noticing coming into the breath. They might be getting bigger as we warm into those muscles. We're going to change direction, go around the other way. Are we noticing perhaps it's a slower class this week? What's the mind like when we do a class that's kind of got a slowness to it or a depth to it, or we hold things a little bit longer? Sometimes it's confronting, sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Just notice that as we wander forward. Be patient with your mind if it wants to dance around the place. And again, with this one, we're also patient with hamstrings, right? This is not one where we're immediately going to get our belly on the floor necessarily, if ever. And so just kind of lengthen along the spine, be patient, find your breath. We're going to wander up and we're going to bring our feet in. I'm going to turn this way so you can see the hands in this one too. Sometimes people are like, which way should my fingers be? Make sure I don't go slippy sliding on the carpet, but we should be fine. So our fingers are pointing to our feet. And the first one, we're not going to lift our hips up forward, we're just going to roll our shoulders down and just lift the chest. Keep the chin tucked in so the head stays in line with the rest of the spine. We're going to breathe into that heart space. Breathe into those shoulders. We're lifting up and away from wrists. Then we're bringing feet in nice and close. Okay, so Baddha Konasana, take rest with the shoulders. Now lift up along that spine. We can come forward if we want to, or if the kind of legs are starting to feel like, oh, I've had enough, just sit up straight instead. And feel that lengthening along the spine. Now, if you've got wrists and shoulders that can be quite tender with these ones, kind of stay with that first one. Just stay with working into the wrists. Okay. If you're feeling all right, then we push into our hands, we push into our feet, and we try not to use the glutes to do the whole lift because they want to work in this one. We just have them there as support. As we bring the hips up, we keep the head kind of nice and lined up, chin kind of tucked in towards the chest a little bit, and breathe. Hips come down, hands come around. We're going to take our legs straight out in front and just walk your way down. Those legs just slow. Find enough in that stretch, let the shoulders come down. Again, we don't want to curl over, so we're lengthening along the spine. And then come on up. We're going to come back around to all fours. And we're just going to turn these hands around. So again, there's a plank version of this for those of you feeling a little bit stronger today. You're most welcome to do that. Thumbs are to the outside. We want a little bend at our elbows. So we're just going to stretch into those wrists and forearms. And we're going to turn the hands back around. Wander. The knees back. Coming down, of course, if you were in the plank version. We're going to wander our knees back so that our hips stay above our knees. So we're not pulling back to our heels as we bring our heart to the floor. So find that shape. Very elegant shape. Really lovely stretch for right under the arms, but also across where your bra would be if you were wearing one. We're going to thread our needle from here, team. So that same stretch, but a little bit more intense with our hips in the air. So right arm threads underneath that left one. Just kind of feeling into what feels different with it. Breathe. Changing sides. Bring it back to center. Either a frog or a down dog, team, so kind of check out what the energy levels feel like in terms of your body. Just go slow, whichever one you're in. Those of you coming up into down dog should feel a little bit different than our first one. So we start to lengthen out, lift up through the hips, let the heels work their way down. And then we're coming forward, bringing our knees down. We're meeting on all fours, then we're sitting back onto our feet, team. So if you need something between your calf muscles and your thighs, do that. Hands on knees, shoulders drop down. Take a moment, close your eyes, or soften your gaze. Feel that beautiful length along the spine, so it's very hard to slouch in this one, but we really want to kind of feel like we're drawing the crown of our head up towards the roof. Feel the breath moving along the spine and between the ribs. Adding a variation in, we can tuck our toes under behind us and sit back on our heels that way, stretching into the feet. Find your breath again. And then easing up through the upper body, flatten the feet. Give those toes a little rest for a moment. We're going to tuck them under again to feel a little bit gentler since we're not leaning on them. Make sure our hips are nice and kind of steady over our knees so we're not leaning back. We're going to inhale, bring our arms up. And just feel that reach, feel that lift, stretch it out. And then our right hand is just going back to our right thigh for the first one. And left arm reaching out. Similar shapes that we make in different poses, crew. So think back to our low lunge. And the shape. I'm going to inhale, bring that right arm back up, take this left arm down. To come out, we're going to bring our bum back towards our heels. And then walk forward into that hips up, heart to the floor pose, so we're not pulling back to the heels. Wandering back in, wandering back up, checking the spine the whole time. Toes tucked under. This time when we lift up and we take that right hand back, we might find our right heel if it's there, if it's easy to find. Otherwise, back of that thigh, left arm reaches, hips are forward. So we're really opening up the front of the body, lifting it up. Changing slowly. So lifting, reaching, opening up that space. So come out, bring that arm down, bring that butt down towards the heels. Option, that heart to the floor pose again, or coming into down dog. Again, energy levels, what's going to feel nice on your body. Lengthen your breath. Come forward, all fours. Cat-cow, just checking in on the spine tone. Inhale, bring it forward. Exhale, lift that spine up. Couple more like that, just checking in. Then if, like me, you have taken your socks off, it's now a great time to put them back on, because we're going to do the last sequence of lying down cruise. So just find socks, put a blanket nearby if you're going to shavasana for a while or it's a little bit chilly where you are. We're going to take ourselves down to the floor, bring the knees in towards the chest and just roll some circles around that lower back, just easing around into the spine. Change the direction of those circles. Back to center we go. We're going to bring our thumbs underneath our butt cheeks a little bit and push our heels up towards the roof. Stretch out the toes and then just find your breathing. Notice how your body feels after a few breaths here. Sometimes we get a bit of tingling in our legs. Sometimes a bit stronger than we think it's going to be. Or if you want to make it stronger, bring your legs towards you a little bit so you feel that lower abdominal region kick in. Then we're going to bring our feet down. Take our arms out wide from the shoulders, bring your hips up. Actually, no, don't bring your hips up. Team, take your feet one either side of the mat. It's a monkey pose, so we're going to drop our knees over towards the left as you exhale. Then inhale up. Exhale, take them over to the right. Just keep that movement going, inhaling up, exhaling over. Noticing the movement, that loosening up in the hips and the lower back. Like releasing of tension might be a better description. We don't necessarily want to loosen up in a, falling apart kind of way. We want to feel like we've got that range of motion, that beautiful range of motion our body's designed to have. Let's go one more each side. And then this time, bring our knees together. We're going to bring our hips over to the left side of the mat. Pat the bum down. Take the knees right into the twist. Looking along that left arm. Finding your breath, sinking into it through these twists. Really important part of our practice. Again, can be gentle, or we can really work the shoulders into the floor, work the knees into more of a stack. Turn the head a little bit further. Let's bring those knees back up, those hips back to center. And then over they go to the right. And the knees go left. Head turns right. Again, it's find that enough point for your body. Back to center we go, crew, and back, the hips come to center. Soles of the feet together, knees drop out to the side. Can feel quite different to when we're sitting up. Reach the arms up, and if they go over your shoulders, over your head, oh my goodness. Go slowly over your head, find the floor if you can, and then bend at the elbows, fingertips towards each other. So work into the breath, breathe that out.
Then find that slow, deep inhale. Right to the top, feel that little pause, that little hold of the breath. Then let that exhale flow all the way out, clearing out the system. Pausing at the bottom, letting that inhale arrive. We're going to bring our right knee up and in towards the chest. Take hold of it with your hands. Might take hold of the back of the leg if you can't quite find the knee and the shin. Draw it in. We're going to take that leg up towards the roof. We can climb it if you wish, or you can stay just holding onto it. If you're climbing it, take your chin in. Make sure your neck feels alright. Come down slowly. Soles of the feet together, knee drops out. And then bring that left knee in. Give it a squeeze, hold on to it for a few breaths. Then the foot comes up towards the roof. We can climb that leg if we want to. We can stay on the floor, looking after our neck. Taking it down slow. Again, soles of the feet together, knees drop out, arms reach over the head. And then knees come back together, both feet reaching up towards the roof. Arms alongside the body. And just push away with those heels. Find your breath. As we start to come towards the end of class time, can be a good time as we bring those feet down. Find your comfy space, can be traditional Shavasana, or your feet might stay tucked in. Hands might be alongside the body, palm facing up, or you might bring them kind of onto your tummy so you can feel the breath. I'm going to bring that gathering of our threads back into focus. Especially if the moment you stop, your thoughts go in lots of different directions. And it's like, oh, this is not relaxing at all. I want to feel like we're gathering our energy back in from all of those thoughts, all of the things that take us away from that center line. Just to give ourselves a moment of rest. And so ease yourself into that resting shape. Let your body grow heavy on the mat. Think about those roots underneath us and our own roots intertwining. The earth holding us. And sink into the breath of it. Just let the breath come into the foreground. See if we can just sweep those thoughts into the background. They don't have to be as loud, as present. They're always going to be there. See if you can find your volume switch. Turn them down. Turn up your awareness of the simplicity of the breath. And if you need a thought, you need an idea to play with, bring rest to mind, resting. No screens, no stimulus, resting in the breath, in the moment, and into the quiet crew, just into a couple of minutes of just being where you are. So bring your awareness just back into wherever you are. If you're moving from here into meditation, we're going to come up to seated to kind of move into that space. If you're coming to wake up, both shapes the same. So we're going to reach our arms up. Over here, we're going to wander our feet up the mat if they're not already there. Stretch yourself out. Take a couple of breaths, just kind of moving and waking up. Then we're going to turn ourselves over onto our left side. Come slowly up and around to seated. And just for a moment, sit, just feeling the line from the crown of the head down through spine to your base, down into the earth. And then from the earth, coming up, slowly up the spine, the crown of the head. Feel like we're plugging into whatever you conceive of the universe and the earth to be. Feel the breath moving. Hopefully your body feels more at ease than it did at the start. Those going on to meditate, many blessings. And those that are coming back into the world, just blinking your eyes open. Let's inhale, take our arms up into that space. And then come down, touch some of that energy down to the earth. And then come up. Gather that energy in, bring it to your heart space. And we gather that energy there for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, whatever your rest of your day entails. kind of carry that with you, that sense of yoga, of coming together. And many blessings. Thank you for your presence all the way through to here.